عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها قل إنما علمها عند ربي لا يجليها لوقتها إلا هو ثقلت في السماوات والأرض لا تأتيكم إلا بغتة يسألونك كأنك حفي عنها قل إنما علمها عند الله ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون قل لا أملك لنفسي نفعا ولا ضرا إلا ما شاء الله ولو كنت أعلم الغيب لاستكثرت من الخير وما مسني السوء إن أنا إلا نذير وبشير لقوم يؤمنون صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Surah Al-A'raf, these ayat refer to a specific happening and also give us some general principles and knowledge. These kuffar, they ridiculed the Prophet ﷺ by asking him that when is the doomsday going to come. Sa'ah literally means the hour or hour, but in the language of the Quran it means that day where everything is going to be destroyed, the last day. And also it refers to that day where everybody has to stand accountable before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these people came to the Prophet ﷺ and said that if you are a Nabi, tell us, why don't you tell us about the exact time of the doomsday that you keep on talking about. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ, they ask you about the hour, which is the doomsday. Ayyana, when. Ayyan means when. Ayyana mursaha, when is it going to come. When is it going to happen? قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ رَبِّي, tell them, say that the knowledge of that is only with my Lord. لَا يُجَلِّيهَا لِوَقْتِهَا إِلَّا هُ, no one can unfold it except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at its time. Yujalliha is a sudden opening, tajalli or sudden opening, sudden opening up of something. So that day, doomsday, the real knowledge, the exact time of it has been hidden, kept secret by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's wisdoms behind it. For the people who believe, if they knew the exact time of the day of judgment and the last day, then it will be very hard for them to live and do the things of this world, because the concern would grow over them so much. And for the disbelievers, it is also beneficial that the time is not known. Otherwise, had they known the time that it is so far away, then they would have started to get even more involved in their things of the world, their rebellion. Now when they don't know it, at least they have some fear that their death and that the last hour can come anytime. So sometimes some of them gain a lesson through that and become afraid and believe and come to senses. ثَقُلَتْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it will be very heavy. It shall weigh heavily on the samawat and the ard, the skies and the earth. لَا يَأْتِيكُمْ إِلَّا بَغْتَةً, and it shall not come upon you but suddenly. The Prophet ﷺ has told us how suddenly it will come. A person would be trying to sell his cloth, that big fold of cloth that cloth sellers usually have. They will have unfolded it and they would not have even been able to cut it and sell it. The hour will come. Similarly, a person would be mending his wall or his container of water, whatever sort. They will be mending it and they will not be done, that the Qiyamah will come. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So much so that the Prophet ﷺ said that a person would lift a morsel of food and will not be able to put it in their mouth, and they will be caught in the doomsday. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the hardships of that day. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. يَسْأَلُونَكَ كَأَنَّكَ حَفِيٌّ عَنْهَا, they ask you as if you are hafi, which means that hafi literally means somebody who has researched it or asked repeatedly about something to the point that they know fully well about it. So they ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they are asking you as if you are hafi, that you have asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeatedly about it to find out the perfect knowledge of it. That's not true. Tell them, قُلْ إِنَّمَا عِلْمُهَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ, the knowledge of it is with none but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ, but most of the people do not know. So this claim that they had made, that if you are a prophet, if you are a true prophet, you should also know the time of the day of judgment. The Prophet ﷺ is told to tell them, قُلْ لَا أَمْلِكُ لِنَفْسِي نَفْعًا, let alone the knowledge of the hereafter. قُلْ لَا أَمْلِكُ لِنَفْسِي نَفْعًا وَلَا ضَرَّ إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Except that what Allah has told me and what Allah has willed for myself, I have no power to, let alone know about something which encompasses the whole humanity. I, in my person, do not even know, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not willed to give me the knowledge of it, about things that will bring benefit to me or harm to me. And there are several examples in the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sat on his ride, and that ride started to trouble him, and he also slipped from it and got hurt, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So had he known that this ride is going to do this, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would not have went there. Similarly, we all know about Hudaybiyah. The Prophet ﷺ traveled such a distance with his jama'at of Sahaba, and the kuffar turned him away. Had he known, he would not have done it. In the day of Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslims bore such physical losses in terms of numbers. Had the Prophet ﷺ known it, why would he have gone there? Why would he have done it? So the Prophet ﷺ is commanded to say that I have no power to bring a benefit or harm even to my own self, except that which Allah has willed. وَلَوْ كُنْتُ أَعْلَمُ الْغَيْبِ. And if had it been that I had the knowledge of the ghaib, if I was alimul ghaib, or if I knew that what is hidden, لَاسْتَكْثَرْتُ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ وَمَا مَسَّنِيَ السُّوءُ. Allah, I would have accumulated a lot of good things, and no evil would have ever touched me. But that was not the case. And some ulama have written that it is possible that the wisdom behind some of the things, the worldly troubles that the Prophet ﷺ had to face, was to prove that the Prophet ﷺ is not alimul ghaib, as some people would like to believe. The Prophet ﷺ is not alimul ghaib. Although, yes, this is true, that compared to all creation, the knowledge of Anbiya, the ilm that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to the Anbiya is much better and is of a totally different level. And even in Anbiya, compared to other Anbiya, the knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is of a totally different level. It's much more. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had more knowledge than any other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including the Anbiya. But still, he could not be called alimul ghaib or alamul ghaib, because alimul ghaib, the person or the one who knows everything, it can only apply to a person who has knowledge, perfect, independent knowledge about every single particle, which the Prophet ﷺ does not have. He only has that knowledge which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him, and yes, that knowledge was much more and much beyond than any other creation. But still, he was not alimul ghaib. He's been commanded to declare this openly. Allah, in ana illa nadhirun wa bashirun liqawmin yu'minun. I am none except a nadhir and a bashir, somebody who gives a good news, a herald of good news, somebody who warns, and somebody who gives good news. لِقَوْمِ يُؤْمِنُونَ, for a people who believe. So to do that job, which is my job as a prophet, I do not need to have the knowledge of the hereafter. I do not need to have the knowledge of the exact hour of the judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam knowledge about the signs of the Qiyamah, and they are mentioned in books. Different alamat, different signs. Some are greater signs, some are minor signs, some are very close to the Qiyamah. For example, coming of the Dajjal, coming of the Abbatul Arz. These are the great signs of the Qiyamah. And then there's others, some minor signs. The Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that children will start to become disobedient to their parents, and music and singing women will become common. These things we are seeing, and these things are the knowledge of Qiyamah that the Prophet ﷺ is given about the signs, but the Prophet ﷺ was not given the exact hour or exact knowledge out of the wisdom, perfect wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those who are hamilin of the Quran. Allahumma ja'alna min ahli al-Quran alladhi ahluka wa khassatuhu. Sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqi sayyidina wa Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ameen bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.